Good Chair. Minister, Ireland has set itself ambitious targets, a 50% reduction in carbon output by 2030, carbon neutrality by 2050. The recent IPCC report again outlines the significant challenges facing mankind, our need to prevent global temperature increases above 1.5 degrees C over coming years and decades. We need to significantly change our consumption habits, our energy usage, if we are to have any hope of achieving these goals set out in the climate policy. We must play our part, Minister, but climate goals must be implemented in the fairest way possible, ensuring that no parts of our economy are targeted through unjust climate emission reduction targets. I am referring here most pointedly to the agricultural sector and specifically to the national herd. Minister Smith mentioned in his introduction the plans to reduce chemical nitrogen by the use of multi-seed pasture land sward. I fully support this policy, Minister, and in fact I accompanied you some months ago to a Waterford visit to WIT, and specifically to the agricultural area of WIT, where significant research has been ongoing on the development of pasture land sward, with the stated intention of reducing chemical nitrogen and emissions. Despite your aspirations to developments in this area, Minister, I can tell you that a funding application to further enhance the Living Laboratory project ongoing at WIT, which is central to the pasture land research there, was refused funding by our national research bodies. They are obviously working to a different agenda than you, Minister. In the South East, where the food agri sector is the most significant economic driver, where dairy, beef, lamb and tillage production in particular are economically and culturally intertwined, I would like to see actions to back up your statements around developing options for reducing agricultural emissions. Multi-seed sward, reducing chemical nitrogen and fertilisers, rotating feedstocks, wetlands and tree planting all have a part to play in reducing farm emissions. These must be fully considered, Minister, before any sectoral targets are announced that would reduce our national herd. Minister Smith mentioned government plans to introduce a new forestry plan, Minister. I am not sure what a new plan is going to do, considering the deficits within the existing plan that have been outlined to government for over 2 years and that have not properly addressed the situation as yet. We can all agree with more afforestation. We can all agree with more carbon sequestration. But how is this to be achieved if we cannot manage the regulatory environment in over 2 years to help to deliver it? You also highlighted, Minister, the need for Ireland to get moving on its renewable generation, particularly wind. I have mentioned in the House before the slow development of the Maritime Area Regulatory Authority, which will be charged with overseeing the planning of our offshore sea area. Nothing announced by way of a wind port investment for Rosslare. We have all heard how Ireland may have up to 10 times its nationally required wind energy generation offshore, just waiting to be tapped on our eastern, southern and western coasts. But who is going to tap it, Minister? Where is the evidence that we in Ireland are trying to create a skill set in terms of understanding, manufacturing and deploying offshore wind energy? Despite all the talk of what a vibrant, potential industrial sector opportunity awaits and could prove for this country, where is the evidence that we are developing science and understanding in this area, that we are implementing in our colleges and our institutes of technology, that we are incentivising R&D grants to engineering companies in this area to pursue wind science and development? The truth, as far as I can see, Minister, is that we will sell the family silverware yet again by allowing overseas conglomerates to enter our maritime area, to develop commercial wind generation here and to run off and make profit that will be given overseas. They will maximise the export potential of our wind while paying us a pittance in licence fees, all the while charging us up the wazoo for the energy generation lying off our shores that we have failed to capitalise on and that we are failing to capitalise on. I see no urgency, Minister, to radically transform how we do business and governance in this country, how we strategically plan, how and who we make responsible to deliver on our stated goals. We can talk electric cars, wind generation, hydrogen fuel manufacture, biogas, organic digestion, yet we have implemented nothing nationally to adopt any of these technologies to date. We can talk retrofitting of houses in the midst of the construction crisis, all the while ignoring the complete lack of workers available to deliver on these projects. The Climate Action Plan Minister can be simply referenced as the need to significantly reduce national production of greenhouse gases. Deputies such as myself have agreed in principle to supporting the actions of your government in a national climate agenda, Minister. I, for one, have had enough of the copious hot air generation that has surrounded much of these debates over the past 20 months. We now need to see real intent, Minister, a visible, balanced plan with real delivery targets and real accountability for those charged with implementing. We must do a climate action plan, Minister, but we must do it fairly, and we must ensure that it takes account of the most vulnerable in our society and our country, and that it does not damage into the future Ireland's ability to compete internationally.
Deputy